I think it was an interesting game. Probably not what I predicted, it would look like. But having said that, if you ask the hockey world probably 2 months ago based on who's been playing the best, all season, I think people probably would have predicted Edmonton would be in the conference final. I mean, since November, they've been an elite team in just about every category, and so I'm not surprised. And we'll get ready and get to work, and excited to play in the conference final against a great team. I'll tell you, they got to look at the end. I mean, hats off to Vancouver. What a season, and fight right to the end. They obviously showed their spirit there, because everyone thought that game was over, and I think I was one guy that knew that they were going to push right to the end, and they did, and they got a real good look at the end there, a big shot block to kind of get out of it by Edmonton.
If you look at Edmonton and Colorado, are they as similar in terms of preparation as they appear?
Yeah, you know what? I think, I would liken Edmonton. It's going to be a combination of what we dealt with Colorado, and also what we dealt with Vegas. I think it's a little bit of a hybrid of both those teams. So, we're going to have to pull all the things we did well against those two opponents, and I think that will apply, but that's easier said than done, and you've also got the best player in the world to deal with.
I know you won't go too far to answer those, but where are the similarities for the two? Colorado's seems obvious.
Yeah.
Like Vegas, where are the...
Yeah, and how they defend, in D zone, and their defensemen, and keeping their defensemen close to the net. Vegas and Colorado, and you've got a McKinnon or an Eichel, that type of speed off the rush. I think both at elite power plays, particularly Colorado, elite power play. This is elite plus. So there's a lot of similarities if you look at the two opponents, I think.
You were very successful limiting McDavid in the regular season. What's the key?
Yeah. Cross your fingers, pray. It's like Nate McKinnon. It's like Jack Eichel. You're never going to hold them off the score sheet. You got to defend them as a 5-man unit. You always have to have awareness when they're on the ice. You can't. You've got to have detail to your game at all times, and you can't take a breath. Because those guys will expose you.
You've got a lot of offense from their D, right? Particularly Bouchard.
Yeah.
Gets you faced out.
Yeah.
As well,
Makar,
right?
and
Makar, Theodore.
Yeah.
Hanifin.
Yeah.
Right? Is that just another?
I think we've seen a lot of the things that we're going to see here already. In a combination between the two series we played, and again, as it should be, you're going to have to take all those things you've done well and execute in this series, because they're a very good team, and I think probably the best team in the league, probably from November on, as far as regular season record goes.
You said best player in the world. If there's something that occasionally puts McDavid a notch ahead of McKinnon,
yeah.
What is the size?
Well, those two guys are in the conversation, and you know what? That's year to year, right? I think McKinnon. I wouldn't be surprised if McKinnon wins the Hart this year, but I think McDavid. He's so electric. I think McKinnon does it with a little more power to his game. I think McDavid has another layer of finesse to his game, but you're splitting hairs. I mean, these guys are both a handful to deal with.
Anything unique to the challenge?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, every series is unique. You're down to the final 4 teams, so I think Edmonton is playing with a lot of confidence, and they have all year. And it's probably, when we played Vegas, they had kind of, because of some injuries and things, they kind of stumbled around a little the second half. Colorado had their stumbles the second half and kind of put it together against Winnipeg in the first round. This Edmonton team has been rolling for 6 months. That's a dangerous opponent.
I was going to say maybe Hyman, just the way he is around the net. All his goals are.
Yeah. 50-50 goal scorer for sure, and you're right, and a blue paint type guy. So absolutely, that's another layer to their weaponry that they've got and we've got to deal with.
Is your group of defensemen uniquely suited to handle this challenge too? Miro's gone head-to-head with McDavid a bunch and done pretty well, and then Tanev, it looks like, can do the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if we're uniquely suited, but we like our group, and again, we faced some great players here, so you've got to do it again. I mean, whatever you've done in the past is great and has got us to this point, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna do the same thing to Connor McDavid. You've got to go out and do it all over again and do it at another level than you've done it prior.
Speaking of Miro, we haven't spoken enough about Miro.
Yeah,
Averaging, again, averaging 28 minutes, leads you in scoring. Can you point out one or two things that I'm not noticing, or we're not noticing, just examples of where he's made an impact that is...
Well, I think the beauty of Miro is exactly like you just talked about. I mean, you go through an entire game and you don't really talk about him, but his fingerprints are all over the game. And, it wasn't until this year, he was killing penalties and was one of our best penalty killers too. He never sacrifices offense or defense for offense, which is really rare in a guy with that type of skill level and his ability offensively. And I think he actually enjoys the matchup against the best players in the world, over the offensive piece of the game. But he also understands that he's got to be a part of both for us in this. And, with Tanev here, we have a grouping of guys there that, and it's going to take all of them, that it's going to be a great challenge that, we wouldn't be here unless those guys had been successful against that type of player. But again, this is another level here at this time of year, so we've got to make sure we're prepared. But with Miro, it's he's just you take him for granted until you watch the tape and you realize just how important he is and how many areas of the game he affects.
Is there something in the playoffs that has increased his scoring in the bubble? I think he led them in scoring last year, not as much as it's been.
Well, I think it's his understated competitiveness. You see it on the bench in the playoffs. Like he is engaged. He's not a loud guy, but in the playoffs he's engaged. He understands that you have to raise your level at these moments, and I think he has that ability to do that.